Hello, my name is John Schleicher, Bishop of the Northwest Lower Michigan Synod of the ELCA. Today I'm wanting to share with you reflections on the Grounded in Justice workshop that we hosted together with Southeast Michigan Synod in August of 2008. And the way in which I was moved by this presence of people who were prisoners or had been prisoners, their families, people who work in the system, in corrections, professors, others who were deeply concerned about the care and well-being of those who are incarcerated or have been. My particular hope for you as you watch this today is that you as a congregation or members of congregations would be moved in your weekly prayers together in worship to pray for people in prisons, of which there are about 52,000 in Michigan alone, plus those in jails. This video today is dedicated to the memory of Bishop John Schreiber, who died just days before we had this Grounded in Justice event in August. I witnessed Bishop Schreiber's last sermon at Bass Lake, our youth gathering, in which he expressed his heart about justice and used the text where Jesus came to the disciples who were out in the boat in the midst of a storm and called Peter to come out of the boat into the storm with the assurance then, as Peter realized that Jesus would be there to hold him up and be with him. John's plea in his last sermon was that we would be people who would be willing to get involved in the lives of others who have experienced hardship and brokenness in their life. And so this video is a tribute and a memorial, I think, in a sense, to what John stood for and what we want to, as our two synods in the Lower Peninsula, want to carry on.
And everybody needs just one person to make them feel whole.
My life was like a sink filled with dirty water. A lot of dirty water of hate and anger and bitterness and sin. It was like God rolled up his sleeve and crashed through all that concrete and steel and hate and anger. And he pulled that stopper out of the sink. And that dirty water started to slowly drain out of my life.
He's ADHD, bipolar, borderline schizophrenic, jobless and homeless, and then he has another award that he collected in there. One day while he was drunk, he was walking down the street to visit a friend, and there was a 14-year-old girl, and he was friendly to her, and who knows what. He probably touched her on the shoulder. Someone saw him, and now he is 4th degree CSC. But he can't live in this mission because it's too close to a school, and he can't live in that mission because it's too close to a park, and he can't live in that one because it's in the neighborhood, and he can't live here, and he can't live there. And when you have a jobless and homeless child, and you are on retirement from a one-income family, I don't have the money to support him.
Nationally, 64% of jail and 56% of state prison inmates have serious mental illness according to the U.S. Department of Justice, and up to 75% of the juvenile justice populations have emotional disorders, and that again is the Waxman and the Government Accountability Office report. But as the Mental Health Commission looked at the issue, and as the Department of Corrections did, it became clear that the patients least likely to be paroled were those with serious mental illness for a couple of reasons. First, they had a series of behavioral encounters against the rules, largely because of their mental illness and institutional environment, so they didn't have the best record in prison. Two, there was not an assurance that there would be treatment once they went back home. So the parole board was reluctant, and he tended to see more people with serious mental illness serving their full time, maxing out in the jargon.
What I do is, when I advise people, I tell them if they want to get involved in the jail ministry, that the first thing that they must do is to make that known to one of the chaplains at the jail. And they will have an application process that they go through, and then they have to go through some training. I think it's a 2-week training. And then after that 2-week training, then they can get involved. They can get involved in answering kites. That is, the inmates always need something. They need prayer. They need a Bible. They need to talk about the relationship at home.
If you're looking to get involved in a prison ministry, CARES is a good one. Forgotten Man is another good one. I was talking to a person, and his advice to give to you was, don't try to invent your own program. Get on board with one that's already established.
For the most part, the sheriff is going to determine what comes in and out of that building. They can control the facility. The Board of Commissioners can say, we're going to fund a jail ministry program. But if the sheriff says, no, they're not coming to my building, they fund all they want. So that's kind of how that works.
And that Michigan is one of 4 states that spend more on corrections than they do on higher education. The other states are, Vermont is at the top, Michigan, Oregon, Connecticut, and then Delaware is a ratio of 1.0, meaning that they spend the same amount on corrections as they do on higher education. The lowest is Minnesota. They spend 17 cents on corrections for every dollar they spend on higher education. Parolees are spread throughout the state, so there's a lot of census tracts with just 1 or 2 parolees in them, and that reaches a wide geographic area. So of the 2,707 census tracts, 78% have received at least 1 parolee. There have been a lot of studies that have focused on marriage, and as I showed you, only like 10 to 12% of the people in our population have ever been married. So even if you show that marriage, even if you have a really high quality study showing that people who get married have, that really redirects their trajectory and helps them desist from crime, how generalizable is that going to be to the broader population?
We cannot give up on people. That's kind of like a theme that runs through me all the time when I'm out speaking to people. It's so easy to give up on people when they don't do what we think they should do. But I don't care what the person has done in life, where they come from. You may have come from the wrong side of the tracks, so to speak, amen? The wrong family. A real bad background. It doesn't matter what they've done. You see, we can't give up on them.
We're just waiting for them to let him go. He's no risk. He can go out, now he can go outside the fence into another building. I don't know why they're keeping him. And I keep asking God, why are you keeping him? I know he's learned a lot, and it's been good for him, but it's hard.
The 11,000 that we release, the problem that we have is that within 2 years, about 48 months, about 48% of them come back. What I'm saying to you is we parole 11,000 people a year, and within 2 years, about half of them are back. By the way, we saw a big surge in the last 10 years in prison population with Michigan and our Great Lakes states neighbors. Michigan has a little bit more of that kind of problem, and the strange thing is, even though we're incarcerating more people, we don't have less crime. So what that tells you is, somebody once said, if you do what you've always done, you're going to get what you always got.
Do you want to change who you are? Do you want to correct the type of person that you once was to a better person, or just stay the same? You have a choice when you go in there to change or to stay the same. And the ones that stay the same are the ones that either stay or make it a revolving door. But the ones that really at heart change, stay out.
Not everybody can be put back together. Some things happen at a young age, like a divorce or whatever, or child abuse or whatever, that some things just can't be put back together. They can be mended, but there's certain things there.
We're all afraid. You got to put that down. We're not called to be afraid. It says 365 times in the Bible, fear not. That's one a day. Fear not. One extra one I'll leave you. So fear not. Don't be afraid. Don't be driven by fear, because I tell you, it's killing our society. It's making it so we don't trust each other, and it's making it so our prisons are unjust. We've got to stand up against it.
The church has a very different approach to people as all made in the image of God and valuable to God, that we want to stand up to this culture of fear. I think it's also important, besides befriending folks while they're in prison and then after they're released, is also to write a letter to our governor or to Congress people and just say that we're about restorative justice and about giving people a chance. So that whole, not only that direct contact, but to help be part of helping to change the system so that we're not so much a culture of fear, but a culture of understanding and of hope.